This is Ian Lamont. I've been an independent publisher on Amazon for more than 10 years, and today I'm going to show you how to set up a new paperback book in Amazon KDP. That's Kindle Direct Publishing. If it helps, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Let's get started. We're looking at my KDP dashboard. You can see I have lots of books in my catalog. As I said before, I've been doing this for a long time. Recently, I created a second edition of a book called Social Security in 30 Minutes, and there's actually 2 volumes. This is the first volume of the book, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the second volume of the book, and this is also the second edition of each volume. So there's going to be a couple things that look a little bit different maybe than if you're just doing a solo book on its own, but I'll just try to explain that as we go through. And also, my apologies, I know my voice sounds funny, I'm getting over a cold. So one thing you're going to need before you press the big yellow create button is all of your metadata and assets together. When I say assets, I mean the interior PDF and the cover PDF. I work with pros, graphic design pros and editors, so I have all those things ready to go. It's been a long time to get to this particular stage, but let's get started by pressing create. And then you have these options. I'm not going to do the Kindle ebook yet. That's going to be at another stage. I'm going to create paperback, and this will be a print-on-demand paperback. So that means, in theory, when somebody orders it on Amazon, Amazon will print up a copy and send it out. What I actually think happens is Amazon determines what the demand is, and then they have like a certain number of copies sitting waiting to be sold and distributed. So book title. I've already prepared the metadata for this book title, and what I do is I just copy and paste. And I know that some people will be looking at this text file and saying, come on, a text file? And in my experience, doing this for more than 10 years, I like working with this way better than a spreadsheet. And I know other people use tools like Onyx, metadata tools, and whatnot. I just use a text file. It works for me, and I'm going to stick with it. Subtitle is important. Always have a subtitle that, first of all, reflects the book accurately and is reflected on the cover, and also has keywords in the title that reflect the contents of the book that will help customers find it on Amazon. And by the way, all of these things that I'm doing here, I'm going to be releasing it in other platforms as well, including Ingram, including Apple Books, including Kobo, and I'm using the same metadata for all of the books. Okay, series, optional. This is important because I do have a series, and that, as I mentioned before, this is a 2-volume book, and it's an existing series. So I'm hoping that it's going to pop up here. And I see it. This is it. Social Security. And this is going to be related content. And I'm just going to choose other, confirm and continue, and I'm going to hope it lets me do it. Okay. So, edition number. This is important because, as I said before, it's a second edition, and I want Amazon to know that, and also I want Amazon to display that to Amazon's customers. So I'm putting in 2. Do not put in second or write out second in using the English language. Just put the number 2. Author. So my author is Emily Pogue, and she did a fantastic job with this book, by the way, when we did the first edition back in about 5 years ago. Contributors, there are other people who worked on it, but I don't use it. I don't use these particular fields. I don't really think it helps. And then description, I have a description ready to go. It is down here. So what I do is I take my description and I paste it in, and then I format it. And the formatting is helpful. So, for instance, I want to highlight the fact that it's a revised second edition. And then this is another area that I'm going to need to work on. So I pasted in the asterisks, but actually what I need to do is delete all that stuff and then apply bullets, because the asterisks will look weird. And maybe the text actually will run together, which is something you don't want. Wow, there's a lot of bullets here. Okay. And yes, this is a manual process. Another way that I could do this is I could prepare it in HTML in a separate file, text file or HTML file, and then actually, let's see if this works if I just bullet it out right now. And I'm going to use the editor up here. Oh, it looks like it worked. Okay, so you can see my bullets are there. That's great, and it's indented. I have a little information about the author, and I think we're good to go. All right. Now, publishing rights. I own the copyright and I hold necessary publishing rights. So when I run my publishing business, I have contracts with all of my authors, and I do hold all of the necessary publishing rights. public domain work, in AI generated work, I'm not going to get into that. I don't do that stuff. But if you do that, then you're going to have to use the, whatever radio button applies to you. No, there's no sexually explicit images or title. Reading age, I don't use this for the books that I have. I'm assuming most of the people purchasing this book will actually be probably in their 40s and older, or people that are getting it as a gift, so it could be somebody younger. Primary marketplace, Amazon.com. So categories, this is important. You want Amazon to not only categorize it, but you also want readers to be able to find it. And I do have categories already, and let's see if it's going to let me do that. So I have these BISAC categories, which are kind of the book industry process for using for categorizing books, but I'm not sure if they match up. So what I need to do here, I think, is, let's see what they have here. So I have children with special needs. So this actually applies to to people who may be classified as disabled because they're taking a SSI. Okay. Disabilities, hyperactivity. Okay. So I'm going to take this one. And then I'm going to add another category. What else do we have here? Money management. Okay, so that's in the business category. So unfortunately, I can't just paste in the. I just can't paste in the BISAC category. So I have to do this manually. It's kind of not ideal, but just dealing with it. Okay, and then add another category. Okay, I think I've already added 3 here, so I think I'm good. I'm going to save categories. There's another question here. Does your book classify as any of these types, low content book or large print book? And no, the answer is no. Keywords, this is also important. Metadata keywords are kind of hidden from your viewers, but Amazon uses it to classify where they are. And I thought I had some keywords prepared, but I guess I don't, or they're in my spreadsheet. Anyways, for the sake of moving this video along, I'm just going to use some keywords that I have, that I already have in my description. Disability benefits. What's another one? Oh yeah, Medicaid. So these are kind of related to the topic, and people might conceivably look for it. The other thing you can do actually for keywords is just go to Amazon and start searching for a term, and then see what other terms pop up. And let's see here. Okay. Let's just keep it at these 2 right now. I'm going to come back to that later on. Publication date. So the publication date, this is in the future. Now, the way that paperbacks work on Amazon KDP, you can't set them up for pre-order in the future, but you can set them up to be published in the future. They just won't be available for pre-order. That's only for the paperback and the hardcover. For the ebook, you can set it up as pre-order. I'm going to schedule my book's release, and I'm going to set it for just a few weeks from now. Notice that they're giving, so it's May 1st, 2024, but I have about basically a week before then to finalize everything. Save and continue. Now, if I did something wrong, they would have given me an error message at this stage, but they're not. So it says save successful. Now, this is really important. ISBNs. Amazon will give you a free KDP ISBN. I don't like doing that, and it leads to problems for me, but let me just briefly explain what it is. If you take the free KDP ISBN, Amazon kind of controls your destiny in a way. And if something happens with your book where you want to remove it from Amazon or you want to republish it someplace else, you may encounter difficulties doing that. For many self-published authors, I don't think it's a big deal, and the free is a great price. But for people who are into serious, long-term publishing ventures, like you're really dedicated to this, you're going to be doing this for 10 years, you're going to be publishing multiple titles, I do recommend getting ISBNs from a legitimate source, such as Bowker. Now, Bowker has its own problems, including costs that are just through the roof, but I've kind of had to grit my teeth over the past 10 years because I'm running, a serious company, a serious venture, and I just had to purchase these. I had to purchase these particular ISBNs. So I have the paperback right there. I'm just copying the ISBN over. It's already been reserved or set up in Bowker, and then imprint. The imprint has to match whatever is in Bowker if you're using your own ISBN. So the imprint that I'm using for all of my books is in 30 Minutes Guides. Okay. Now, print options. Choose how you'd like it. So different options here. I'm just doing black and white interior with white paper. This is utility nonfiction. It's not like a a book that deserves high quality paper. Trim size 6x9, that's what I'm using. For bleed settings, so talk with your graphic designer to see if they have bleed or not. Determine if you want a glossy cover or not. And these are the options that I always use. And then upload manuscript. So I have to go in and I have to dig out my manuscript. So I already have a folder here and I need press files final. And I think it is, what the heck is, oh, this is volume 1. Wrong one. So I want volume 2. It's this one. So this interior press file. Now, I also might get hung up on something here because usually when you set up the book in this web form, Amazon wants you to preview it, and sometimes it takes a long time to do that. For the book cover, I already have a professionally designed book cover, so I'm going to upload that. And it is KDP hardcover. I'm just going to make sure, KDP paperback. Let me just make sure that this is the right ISBN. I just want to make sure I'm uploading the right file. Yes, it's ending in 326, so that's it right there. Save successful. All right, it's giving me this message again. I have basically about until 5 or 6 days before release date to publish it officially. Okay, Amazon asks about AI generated content. I do not use this, so I'm going to say no. This is totally honor system, by the way. And then launch previewer. So they're going to make me do this, and I'm afraid. What I fear here actually is it's going to take a long time. So let me launch it, see what they say. If it looks like it's going to take a long time, what I might do is kind of cut to the chase here. But basically, I've done the first 2 pages of this 3-page process to set up the KDP paperback book. The final page, in case we don't make it to that particular stage, because this is taking a long time to prepare the files, would be to actually assign a price and assign the markets and decide the royalty rate that you want. Okay, checking your cover for quality issues. Now, because actually, let's take a look at the cover right now. This is the paperback edition 326. This is what it looks like. I actually have another version of the same book for Ingram using the same ISBN, and you can see the template looks different. So that's something to know. I mean, if you're using a template cover you designed yourself, or you have a KDP cover, but you don't have an Ingram cover, don't assume that you can just kind of interchange them. It may not work. So I do have the KDP editions ready. Oh, it's giving me the option to preview. All right, this is great. Now, I see a problem right away. This is actually a very important reason to check out the preview. See this down here? So this, let's take a look here. It's not letting me zoom in, but see down here where it has the barcode? This is the correct barcode. This is not the correct price code. And actually, let's take a look at the original KDP paperback. See down here? The barcode looks different. So you can see the barcode, you can see the pricing code here. Let me zoom in a little bit on that. See the pricing code, 51499? So that didn't match up in the previewer. So I need to exit print preview and see what's going wrong. Okay, here it is right here. Yes, my cover has a barcode. So I forgot to check that off. So that caused Amazon KDP to insert its own barcode, which I do not want, because I've explained this in other videos. If you have a 9,000 barcode, that means no price is set, and some retailers and bookstores will just not take the book if it has a 9,000 barcode, because that means they can't scan it at checkout. My cover does have a barcode. It looks a lot better than the stock one that Amazon is using. So I'm going to launch the previewer again. Preparing the file. So it's going to go through the whole whatever back-end process they have for preparing it. They're going to do it. And actually, let's take a look at the barcode. So you can see the barcode is appearing on both the Ingram and the KDP edition of it. It's all set. And by the way, for the hardcover, it's a different price and different ISBN and different ISBN barcode as well for the price. So you have to work with a designer who knows how to do that stuff. So sometimes for the manuscript quality issues, the things that come up are things like what Amazon thinks are spelling errors, but in my experience, they're often things like proper nouns that it doesn't recognize. And actually, while we're doing it, I can show you something else. So one other thing that I do is I don't only sell on Amazon. This is the first edition of the book. You can see the cover looks a little bit different. I have a website for each one of my books, and I have links to the different marketplaces, including my own marketplace, which is using Shopify, as well as Amazon, Apple, and I have a PDF download as well. So I have to update all these links once the marketplace links are ready for the new edition, and then I have to swap out this image as well. All right, still churning through it, checking my fonts. Checking image quality. Speaking of image quality, if you're working with a professional designer, the quality of the images should be really top notch, and you need to have the rights for those images. So we use images that we design ourselves, such as charts based on public data, if it's Social Security, and then I use stock photos, which I've licensed from, a legitimate stock photo agency. Let's see if it lets me view it. Okay, so here's a new preview, and you can see they did it right. So this is the correct barcode that I wanted. I can see that it matches up with the design, so that's good. So what I'm going to do later on, because I'm not going to completely review this because there's like 104 pages, but I can basically save it and then come back and look later on. But what you should do is you should look at the preview edition. You can also basically load you can load this onto like another device if you want to see what it looks like on another device, although this is the paperback, so it's not such a big deal. But I should go through and check all of these things just to make sure it looks okay. I'm just going to say approve for now. I'm going to come and take another closer look later on. I'm also going to order a proof, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Okay, so we're good. Now, this is interesting. Your printing costs, $230 per book on Amazon. By the way, this is way better than Ingram. I know this from experience working with Ingram. Ingram is usually, considerably more, like 20% more. I'm going to save and continue. And by the way, your printing cost, you need to also take into consideration the other costs associated with publishing, and then the retail price of the book, and the fact that Amazon's going to take a percentage of your particular of your retail price. So for this particular book, it's only meant for the United States because we're talking about the Social Security system here in the U.S. It doesn't apply to any of these other countries. So I'm just going to select one primary marketplace. That's correct. Enter the price. So $14.99. That matches up with the Bowker record. It shows me the rate. So this will be the royalty for the book if I sell a single copy. However, that does not take into account my other costs as well as the Amazon costs that come into play, such as Amazon advertising. So I'm going to do that. Expanded distribution, I would not recommend doing that unless you are not using one of the other services like Ingram. So I do use Ingram, I do use Kobo, I do use Apple. I do not put this expanded distribution there. They say that it means large distributors may add your book to their catalog. And you think that sounds great, but actually, if you do get a royalty, it's a lot less than what you might expect through Amazon itself, and then it also causes huge complications if you are using another POD service such as Ingram. So I never check that off. All this stuff is fine. It doesn't matter because this book won't sell in these other countries. And then the other thing that you can do is you can request a proof. And so I may do that. I think you have to log in your Amazon account to do it. But basically, for a low cost, like I think it's like $5 or $10, you can get a paperback proof and then go through it. And I do recommend doing that. And I have a couple weeks to make that, so I can definitely do that. But for the time being, I'm just going to hit Save as Draft. And then I can come in and check the preview again later on. And then I think I'm going to go back to my bookshelf and see if it's there. I think it should be there. Yeah, so this is the second edition. So it set it up, And then also I can see options to create a Kindle ebook associated with this, as well as a hardcover. So I'm going to do that later on. Anyways, I hope this helped out. If it did, please take a moment to like it and follow me. Also, if you go to leanmedia.org, it's my official website, go to blog, and then you can find all kinds of articles that I've written about KDP, Amazon advertising, and all kinds of Amazon services. And it's, completely free to read, of course. And you can just check that out. There's some links in the show notes too for more resources. Thank you so much for watching.